Rev Mel on Talking Sex Radio is awaiting your call, so call Rev Mel.
But it's still about relationships.
Well, of course, but it's a different intensity. You don't
seeking.
have the type of intensity in vanilla relationships as far as that connection that you have in BDSM, where you are dominant and submissive. In vanilla, it's like, oh, we're all equal, and and
not necessarily.
It's just, well, I mean, in general.
No, not really in general. I mean, within our society, vanilla-wise, within the U.S. society, and almost always around the world, men are always the dominant figures. It is very irregular
Even if they're not, they're
for
forced
people
to
like
be.
and it is very irregular for people like Mel and I to be dominant women, or even for Mad'em Crissy to switch. It's very irregular, and it's seen as a very bad thing in outer society. When I tell people that I'm the dominant and that I'm the one that's hitting somebody else, that I'm the one that's tying up my husband, they're like, what? That doesn't make any sense. You should be the one that should have that done to you.
No.
There are still plenty of dominant women in the vanilla world. You hear the jokes, the old ball and chain, this is, I hand my paycheck to the little woman. She wears the pants in the family.
So there's not a lot of difference. I mean, look at Lucille Ball and Ricky. I mean, he spanked her. I mean, she was... this is going to really get us off the... Is DS really 1950s relationships?
No. I'm talking...
DS can be 1950s.
Yeah, because,
yeah.
Well, no, it's not. It was a way of living. It is kind of like a DS or master slave. Mm-hmm. You, as a woman, were expected to do things.
Yep.
And to question the man. That is how it was back then. And so when when the generic population looks back now and goes, wow, what the fuck was that? But it's still going on, underneath the blanket.
Got a phone call for us?
Yeah, we have a phone call.
Also, really quick, too,
I don't like generalizing everyone.
We're gonna take a question.
Ah, cool.
Hello, it's Rev Mel. May I help you?
Hey, Mom. You didn't possibly think I was going to let this whole show go by without calling in and making some kind of asinine comment.
Yes. It's my incest daughter.
I always want to say that you're all liars. I don't even know what you're talking about, but you're all wrong. Yeah, totally wrong on anything she has to say.
I'm giving you up for adoption.
The auction's next week.
You're going to break my heart.
This week.
Pardon?
How could you do that to me, Mom? You're going to break my heart. I love Crissy. Crissy's great. And Boogie, I just hate Meow. That's all.
No, you love me the best.
And I've added to the family. I've added Luna and Kay. So you got a brother and a sister now.
Luna's great. Love Luna. Luna's wonderful.
I love them both. I love you. I've got all my children are tall.
We fell from a taller apple. We don't look alike at all. So I think, Mommy, you're a slut.
That's right. It's my fetish, tall. Since I'm not tall.
Men of various European descent.
Thank you, sweetheart. You have a question for our wonderful panel here of newbies?
No, I mean, I guess I really don't, because I've talked to all of them individually, and that I kind of have given all of them individually my personal perspective on.
Even UJ?
But no, I mean, I think it is really good though that you guys are standing up and kind of saying, hey, here I am, and yes, I'm fresh meat, but that's okay, and kind of admitting the fact, particularly like for Boogie, because for me as a sub, I've been around for years, not like 20 years or anything stupid like that, but I've been around for several years, and you've seen me, Mel, I've played with some of the best in our community.
Yes.
And what makes a great Dom for me is not someone who can, because I know it all and I can beat the crap out of you and blah, 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 but it's someone who still has a degree of humility and who is still saying, I'm still learning. And being able to admit that you don't know everything. And that's ultimately what keeps you safe as a Dom and what keeps me safe as a sub.
That's right.
You don't get overly confident.
That's right.
On either end. If you as a sub go out there saying, well, I don't have any limits, and, I can take anything that you could possibly throw at me, and I don't believe in hard limits, and Well, now you're going to find yourself in a situation where you're very unhappy because you've had basically sold your dom a bill of goods. If you're telling him that you're the toughest masochist in the West, kind of a thing, and he goes, "All right, bitch, you think you're happy? Let me pull this fucking shit out of my ass right now and winds up fucking cutting you open." And well, it's not. It's as much his fault as it is yours.
That's
so
right.
I applaud you guys for doing it, and you certainly have something that I didn't have when I came in.
Thank you.
There's a much bigger community out there. There's a lot of new people coming in, and it's great and it's wonderful because you have a forum, and all of you are absolutely taking great advantage of it, and it's rock and roll.
Thank you, sweetheart. Thank you for calling. I love you.
Be good.
All right, I love you too, Mom. I'll talk to you later.
Bye, baby. One of the great things about this community, and the BDSM community is vast here in Los Angeles. We are so fortunate. And we've got a new club that's opening down in Long Beach. There's so many different clubs that we can go to. But what you're looking at right now on this panel, and this is very important, this is the future. Yeah. No,
You are fucked! Run away! Oh my God!
You are. UJ, Meow, and I hate to say Boogie, Count Boogie. You and Lady Crissy, you are the future.
Well, here's a question for you guys. When you guys initially came into the lifestyle and you guys started to go to the clubs and you saw these people playing, what were your views on that? Was it, because I remember what I thought when I initially came in, and I know what I still think now. Now that you guys have been in for a few months, what do you think? How do you gauge who is like a very good player as opposed to somebody who is not? Because there are a lot of people that have been in this lifestyle for 20 years and they still don't know shit. So how do you, as a newbie, gauge that?
You mean identify?
Yeah, identify those people who actually do have knowledge as opposed to those who don't.
I usually start off by talking to them, getting a good idea of their experience and what they've done and such. And aside from that, actually watching them not just once, not just twice, but watching them over a continued period of time and getting to know actually what their tendencies are. If I see the same person doing the same thing 20 different times exactly, I don't think that person really, maybe they do or don't get it, but doesn't quite
not progressing.
Doesn't have any progression, doesn't have too much of that spark of ingenuity that they're going to keep trying or keep doing different things, or at least mix it up a little bit so the person that's receiving isn't just like, okay, now here comes the Dex cane, okay. And this actually happened to a friend of mine, so I kind of got a little bit of the second hand on that.
The hot dog syndrome.
So do that again.
The proverbial stiffy, just sit there and take it. I like to comment on that. I think that when I first came, I think the one thing that I didn't understand, that I understand much better now, is that the things that I saw were consensual. I mean, one of the very first things I saw was someone just get backhanded right across the face. And they smiled and they laughed and they said, "Thank you." What the fuck? I was really blown away by that. And,
Perk, that got my clit hard.
It was just, right? Now it's not nearly as shocking. And I obviously that was some serious negotiation that goes on with that kind of stuff. And I actually admire that ability to just, like the nonverbal communication sometimes that I see between two people is extremely sensual. And I desire that. I desire to get to that point where there isn't a lot of that stuff going on. That it's just sort of like that kind of a notion or a head nudge or whatever that means a certain thing. And that, I know, it just takes so much time and the regularity of working with someone. And that's something that I really desire. So I understand that that's consensual now. It freaked me out still, but I don't have to have lunch with them, I have my choice to not, because I didn't want to think that, do I have to have my face slapped to get in? Those are just some, vanilla perceptions that have, very much have faded away. So.
Well, you could have it slapped if you like being slapped.
Oh,
if it does something for you.
No, face no. Ass is okay.
I mean, as a new person, you're discovering things every single day that you didn't know. And that's what we're going to do is we're going to take a break. And then what we're going to do is we're going to come back and we're going to talk about, how do you discover your limits? And we're going to find out when is a newbie not a newbie anymore? I mean, I think those are very, very important questions. And you've been watching the Rev Mel Show. And what I would like you guys to do is please go to the Lair de Sade for the live auction on Saturday on the 7th at the auction starts at, what was it, the 3:30 is the auction. It's a silent auction, and then we have the Dom auction coming up.
Just remember, everybody needs to come to my insight. I am doing an insight at 3:30 at the Lair de Sade on how to survive BDSM. It's just an introduction. Despite your disabilities, I am going to be discussing both mental and physical. It's not up there on the website, but it will be both mental and physical. I need everybody's support. I need everybody there so that we can start getting the word out that it's okay to have disabilities and be in BDSM and also discuss them. That, I think, is one of the biggest issues. So
and we're also going to be having she's going to be our guest on Talking Sex Radio, and we're going to be talking about it. And I want to also say thank you to someone that has been posting a lot of the events for me. Misha has she's done a year of the Lair de Sade completely, and she's also doing the House of Cain for me, and she's also joined a Yahoo group, and she's going to start putting all of the different events on for Take It Off of My Back. But we're going to be right back, and you've been watching the Rev Mel Show on TalkingSexRadio.com. We'll be right back.